Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, or welcome if you're new to my channel. Either way, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It'll really help me out. It'll help you out because you'll have access to some great horror content. So, with that being said, we have reached the last movie that we're going to review for 1981, believe it or not, after 3.5 months. This isn't the last video, though, for 1981, because, of course, I'll be doing a wrap up video in a couple of days, which will include my top 20 horror movies from 1981 and a few honorable mentions as well. So stay tuned for that. But the movie we're going to take a look at today, of course, is another slasher movie from 1981. It's from my DVD collection, and that movie is Graduation Day, the American slasher movie from 1981. This is a pretty bare bones DVD release of it from Legacy Entertainment from 2005 that I was able to get my hands on a couple of years ago. But I am looking to upgrade this to the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray DVD combo. I think that's out there, so a much newer release. And so yeah. Anyway, let's just talk about Graduation Day from 1981. So, Graduation Day is a 1981 American slasher film, co-written, co-produced, and directed by Herb Fried, and starring Christopher George, Pat McKenzie, Michael Pataki, and Danny Murphy in his film debut. The plot follows a high school track team who are stalked and murdered by a masked assailant days before their graduation. Leanna Quigley, Vanna White, and Karen Abbott appear in supporting performances. So basically, the movie opens with Laura Ramstad, a senior athlete at a small town Southern California high school. She collapses during a track meet, dying unexpectedly of cardiac embolism. 2 months later, her elder sister, Anne, a U.S. Navy officer, arrives in town to participate in the high school graduation ceremony in which her sister will be honored. Anne blames Laura's coach, Coach Michaels, for pushing her too hard, which she believes contributed to Laura's death. Coach Michaels, or as Anne passes through downtown, she witnesses Paula, one of Laura's teammates, enter jogging trails in the woods. Paula is subsequently stabbed to death by an unseen killer. Anne attends a graduation rehearsal at the high school where she is set to be a special guest. Afterward, she visits Laura's boyfriend, Kevin, and gives him one of Laura's medals as a memento. Meanwhile, Sally, a gymnast preparing for a photo shoot, is startled by her classmates, Doris and Joanna, in the locker room. Shaken, she is unable to perform her routine for the shoot. In the locker room, Sally is confronted by a person dressed in fencing attire who stabs her through the throat with a fencing sword. So yeah, that's kind of the setup, the premise, the beginning of Graduation Day. As far as the cast goes, we have Christopher George as Coach Michaels, Patch McKenzie as Ann Ramstead, Danny Murphy as Kevin Badger, Michael Pataki as Mr. Guglone, Guglione. Michael Pataki as Mr. Guglione, Leanna Quigley as Dolores, Billy Huffsey as Tony Fisk, Tom Hintus as Pete McFarlane, and Vanna White as Doris. Yes, Vanna White from Wheel of Fortune fame. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for the 1981 slasher film Graduation Day. I enjoy this movie. This is actually I think this is one of the better slashers from 1981, if I'm being honest about it. For me, anyway. And that's part of the reason why I'm upgrading this to a Blu-ray DVD combo through Vinegar Syndrome, because I do want a few more special features. I do want the best quality of the film because I really actually like the film as a slasher movie. So, with that being said, let's talk about what I like about Graduation Day from 1981. And you really got to start with the whodunit aspect of the movie. I think it's one of the better executed ones in terms of whodunit slashers, especially for the early 80s. There's a lot of red herrings here, throwing the viewer off with multiple characters having the killer's things in their possession, and an ending twist reveal that I didn't see coming, that I thought worked very well in terms of the killer's motivations and things. And I'm sure there'll be people out there that say, "Oh, dude, what are you talking about? I knew 10 minutes into the movie who the killer was." Okay, maybe you did. I didn't, and I'm usually pretty good at picking up on stuff like that when it's not executed very well. But I think this movie did a really good job of setting us up, setting up those red herrings. Even though some of them I kind of laughed off right away, I'll admit that. But I just thought they did a great job of executing who the killer was, not giving it away, throwing the viewer off, and just making it a very fun who done it slasher in terms of trying to figure it out throughout the movie, which I've come to realize I think that's what I like most about slashers is sort of that aspect of trying to figure out who the killer is. You know, for the slasher movies where they don't give it away right away, of course, which they do that in some slasher movies too, and then you got to look for other things. But in the ones where it's not revealed until the end, I really do enjoy that build up, and the execution of that. And this movie does it really well. I think it's probably the best thing about this movie, frankly. Um, Also, I'll say this movie is more stylized than a lot of other '80s slasher movies during this time specifically. It has some giallo to it. It has fast edit cuts. It has music, and it has the sports slash athletic part to it, which makes it stand out. And I think it's a lot more unique than other slashers during this time. I got to take a drink. I'm losing my voice here. Oh, sorry about that. So what I mean by that is this is a slasher that's very specific to the high school athletics in terms of mostly the track team, but there's a football player, there's a gymnast as well. Um, so I really haven't seen up to this point anyway. I haven't really seen slasher movies that specifically target like an extracurricular aspect to the school. In this case, sports basically, and more specifically, the track team. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it worked well as a slasher setup here. Like I said, giallo in the sense that you got black gloves and you got different it kind of keeps the killer out of the way of the camera, kind of keeps them in the shadows. We get some POV shots of the killer, which is very giallo, and just very stylized overall. The music as well. I mean, there's actually a band, and I forget who they are, but that actually play a song, like probably the end of the second act, beginning of the third act of the movie. And then there's a killing that happens for two characters during this time that cuts back and forth as well. Um, yeah, it's just very stylized. It's a very stylized slasher movie, especially for an American slasher. Like I said, the fast edit cuts that we get, that at first I wasn't sure I was going to like those, but I think it does kind of set the movie apart and it does kind of work for the kind of movie that it is. So yeah, this movie definitely stands out with more of a unique, stylized giallo um, sports aspect to it from a slasher standpoint. The kills in this movie are plentiful, with sort of a running list slash picture and a stopwatch that are used by the killer throughout, which I really liked. I really like those aspects as well. The kills do have some pretty good practical effects. They're not Tom Savini, tier or anything like that. But for having such a low budget like this film does, I thought they were pretty effective. My favorite kill is probably the one with the pole vaulter towards the end, where he lands on a bed of spikes, basically, where instead of landing in the cushy, oh, I don't know what even call it, but you know when people pole vault over the fence thing that's set up, and then they go into the soft, cushy, almost like one of those bouncy house things, but that's not what it is, of course. But there are spikes in this one, and the killer lands right on it, and that was probably the best and most unique kill in this movie. But yeah, I thought the kills were good for the most part. Like I said, pretty good practical effects, I should say, not necessarily gore effects. Also, I think the two main characters, played by Christopher George as Coach Michaels and Patch McKenzie, who plays the sister of Anne. I think they both do a really good job. I thought those characters were interesting. And I think as the two leads of this movie, they do a pretty good job of us sort of following them. It doesn't mean that they're the most likable characters, especially the coach. Although I think her sister of Anne is a pretty likable character. I also thought she was pretty hot too. Maybe that's just me, but pretty easy on the eyes. but there was some character development there among those two specifically, and I thought they both did a good job. The actors did. Um, in addition, I really liked the setting of this movie. I thought it was a very effective setting with this, where basically 95% of the movie takes place in this high school, either inside the high school or around the high school, on the track and field area outside. There's this woods that's right off the edge of the high school as well that I really enjoyed and really added some atmosphere and some fun to this movie. Yeah, I'm a big fan of high school settings for slashers specifically, and I thought this one was a very effective one. Um, and then I think the score overall for this movie is effective. It's kind of understated, other 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 than when that band is actually playing their song and the music or the movie, I should say, during that part I was talking about earlier. But just in terms of like the suspense score, I think it's very effective for this movie. Kind of, I don't want to say understated, but kind of underplayed, where it doesn't take away from what's going on screen, but certainly adds to the tension and the suspense and the overall atmosphere of this movie. So yeah, I really like Graduation Day. Those are my pros of the things that I really like about it. As far as cons go, the ending confrontation with the killer and one of our main characters kind of ended abruptly, a little quicker than I would have liked, frankly. I wanted a bit more from that. Like the build up leading up to it is really good. There's a chase sequence that takes us right back to where the movie started that I really liked, but it just kind of how the killer is stopped. It just kind of happens abruptly, and I kind of wanted a little bit more from that. Uh, there is some scenes that are padded throughout the movie as well. I think it's a 97-minute runtime, if I'm not mistaken. Well, on here it says 90. So I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe the DVD or the Blu-ray is actually a little bit longer than this. It must be because on this DVD it says that it's a 90-minute runtime. But I know I've seen 96 or 97 minutes from the Wikipedia page that I went to. I thought they could have cut about 5 or 10 minutes out of this movie. Like I said, there's definitely some scenes that don't need to be there or that are padded. One specifically having to do with I think it's the music teacher. He goes into like a boiler room area, and there's some kids prank him with a tape of him basically. He's basically got this little fling with one of the students who's not doing too well in his class, and they have a little rendezvous in his music room. Just stuff like that that didn't need to be there. They looked like they were just trying to pad out the runtime of this movie. Also, the movie does have a lower quality film look to it. The cinematography. I think there's even some stock footage that they use here that isn't great. It's not my favorite thing. But yeah, just the look of the film is lower quality. Like it's very grainy looking, specifically in some scenes more than others. But yeah, it just has a really low film quality to it in terms of the look of it. Um, and then my final con, it's kind of a nitpick, but there's the lack of gore with the kills. And again, that's due to the low budget. This movie was made for $250,000 and it grossed like 24 million. So I think it was one of the better grossing early 80s slasher movies for sure. But they just didn't have the budget to like bring in Tom Savini or really have the kind of kills, the kind of gore, blood and gore that a lot of people are looking for in slasher movies. But there is some blood. I mean, it's not like it's a bloodless movie, but if you're expecting to see somebody have their stomach ripped open and guts fall to the floor, then you'll be disappointed. But there's also, I wouldn't say there's a lot of TNA, but if you're somebody that counts on the nudity in these slasher movies, you'll get some. I mean, Leanna Quigley's in the movie, for crying out loud. With her, you know, two things are going to happen. She's going to get killed at some point. She's going to show at least her top off, if not her whole body, which she does in a lot of horror movies throughout the 80s. But yeah, I think there's three scenes of topless nudity, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and then like I said, you get Vanna White, who doesn't have a huge part in this movie, but it's just kind of interesting to see her in this movie, kind of at the beginning stages of when Wheel of Fortune first aired. So no, you don't see her topless or anything like that. For those of you that are asking, she has a pretty small role in this movie. She's basically with another girl that's going around and kind of causing mischief, or I don't know. They're not really doing much of anything. They discover one of the bodies in the girls' locker room, that kind of stuff. I don't think she has any. She might have maybe 3 or 4 lines tops, and they might be mixed in with the other girls as they're talking at the same time. But anyway, with all that being said, guys, I really like Graduation Day. I kind of had a feeling that I would. This is the first time I've ever seen this movie. I've had it in my collection for a few years. I didn't know that much about it, but just from everything that I read about it and seen about it, it's good. It's a good slasher. I'm going to give Graduation Day an 8 out of 10. So 8 out of 10 for Graduation Day from 1981. As I said, I'm going to get rid of this DVD, and I already have the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray coming to me. So apparently there must be a few more minutes of footage in the movie. Because this only says 90 minutes, so I don't know. Somebody can comment down below if that has or seen the Blu-ray edition, if there's additional scenes in the movie. But with that being said, go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of Graduation Day. Do you like it less than I do, as much, if not more? Why or why not? Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel. As I said earlier, so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews. Not only for this series, which I'm going to have one more video to wrap it up with the top 20 for 1981, but also the horror content I have coming out after this. So, with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you're enjoying this 1981 review series. Hope you're doing well, but as always, stay scared. Bye.